Yo, what's up? Yo, what's going on, everybody? That's right. It's the Boxing
Yo, can you hear
Source
me?
Radio Show, here, man. You feel me? And we here February 19th, 2023. I
Breaking
got
up.
a
I can't
guest
hear you.
here, man. What's good, man? Got Mr. G in here.
What's up, my
What's
brother? How you
happening?
doing? Man, I'm doing
All
good. What
good,
about
man.
you? Good. It's good on
Oh,
my end
doing the thing, man.
too.
For sure, man. So, what we here to talk about, man. Had the news Friday. Adrien Broner,
Yeah, of
Michael
course.
Williams Jr.
Yeah, Michael Williams Jr. I mean, I think I don't know. I mean, overprotective of the kid, right? It's like if I send my son off to a camp and he's sparring with somebody that's pretty much his same size, be upset if he gets hurt. I mean, like what he was trying to insinuate, I really can't say. You know what I mean? It sounds like he was thinking that Roy had did some wrongdoing. You know what I mean?
Mm.
But cookie crumbles. It's like if you spawn and you get hurt, I mean, that's all a part of the game. I mean, I don't get what he's saying.
Yeah, you had Michael Williams Sr. on a thing for Mark Nash on YouTube the other day, and he was like, cussing up a storm, talking about, oh, he had my guy sparring 9 days out and all this type of the third, and that once the thing was done, uh, Roy said, "Hey, what's going on?" And his son talking about, I don't know, but my teeth hurt or whatever it is, it was like a whole little situation, and then his dad talking about, well, I got him on the plane and I sent him back home, and then got him to the doctor, and that's when they pretty much found out that, okay, his jaw's broken, but me listening to that explanation from Michael Williams Sr., I'm like, wait a minute. If you knew that your son was calling you from where he was at and said that something was wrong with him, why didn't you have him go out to get checked right then? That was like days
Of course,
after
I
the whole
I
thing
agree
happened.
with you. It's like understand why Michael Williams Sr. or somebody from the family, if you don't trust Roy's judgment, somebody should have been there, like an overseer. You understand what I'm saying? It's like I don't understand. It's almost like you trying to blame Roy over that's a part of the job. You know what I mean? I mean, evidently Roy wasn't liking what he was seeing. Even the dad said that. He said he was getting hit too much and he was wanting to pull the fight. I mean, like we really don't know until we hear from Roy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's a sad situation on both parts, but I mean, I can't be mad if my son gets tackled and he plays football and he gets a concussion. That's a part of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like you
But
said,
I'm in
man.
North Carolina. I mean, it's like so it's a lot of things go on. I mean, I hear a lot of stuff. I mean, I won't call no names. It's like, I mean, it's almost like certain people reach out to those guys and try to spar, and they won't respond back. And it is what it is. I mean, it sounds like from a father that they don't spar. If you hear what he said, when he's in the camp, he was like, they really don't spar. So how do you properly prepare if I mean, you just can't do a bunch of pad work and drills and think that's gonna prepare you for the fight. It's the next
Right.
best thing to sparring, but you gotta spar to see where you at.
Yep. for sure. Like, how are you gonna really gauge what your fighter's gonna be able to do in the ring if you can't see, like, what he does with certain styles or with certain fighters that are in the ring with him? Like, this is how these boxers prepare. Like, if they have a fight going up against a certain opponent, they get guys to come in the gym that mimic the style or have the similar size or any type of thing like that. It's like in football. You don't go into practice and not try to do plays on defense or
and
try
not
to
tackle.
imitate on defense and not even run the plays to go up against that defense. That don't sound right. So for Michael Williams Jr. and his father to like kind of like go about it that way, like that's kind of questionable, and it's almost like they tried to handle Michael Williams Jr. With gloves and tried to have him be on pillows or like a soft mattress until the day of the fight, to where he could just be there and just show up and get paid. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, and then it's like, but I mean, you guys, they were happy to work with Roy. I'm gonna be honest with you. It was like you saw how every time he spoke on Roy, he spoke on him as if Roy wasn't a friend, Roy was family. It was everything was about Roy. You know what I mean? So it's like you can't be about somebody and then when something bad happens, you try to blame them. It's like, what was you really trying to insinuate? Do you think that Roy took money or something? It's like Roy can't see the future. I mean, it's no way I can say, hey, spar this guy and break his jaw. I mean, it's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
His jaw was gonna be fractured. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Word.
So,
And
but I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't really get what he was trying to insinuate. It was like, clearly, yeah, I don't blame you. I would want the payday too. Okay, you say 9 days out, why are they sparring, right? I mean, there's a reason that you guys are with Roy. I mean, you with Roy because Roy knows boxing. Like he said, he knows guns, right? So you want Roy's boxing IQ as a trainer or whatever else, right? So evidently Roy was still wanting them to spar for whatever reason. That's the conversation you got to have with Roy. But see, in North Carolina, you got to realize, man, North Carolina don't have the luxury of other states when it comes to boxing. You in the DMV, I mean, that's DMV, Philly, New York, and places like that. Man, y'all have so many kids coming in and out of the gym. It's unreal. North Carolina, you spar with who's here. I mean,
yeah.
you don't care if the guy is this way to that way. That's where your work come from. It's like, it's certain guys here in North Carolina that, they're going to give you good work. Like Massey down in Durham, you're going to get good work. He going to make sure you get good work. Them boys down in Wilson, you get good work. It's like, it's some guys, you know what I mean? They don't really cherry pick because you don't have that luxury. You got to spar with who's there.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in the Greensboro area. So it's like, I mean, if your guys are 156 pounds, I mean, how many guys that you gonna have at your luxury to spar with? You know what I mean? You don't have that luxury. You might have to spar with a guy that's a whole lot heavier or a whole lot lighter. That's just where your work come from.
Yeah.
So, but from my understanding, the kid was 135 pounds, and they say that he was at his walk around weight. I mean, evidently his mouth must have been open or something when he got hit, because I don't know. I wasn't there, but I'm just insinuating, the possibilities of your jaw getting fractured. Most time, if you're biting down on your mouthpiece, it's not going to happen. But, it is what it is. I hate it for the kid because he seems like an intelligent young man, and I know the payday would have really helped him out, especially because down this way, you don't get those type of paydays. You get a chance to fight Broner on the comeback. in Atlanta on a pay-per-view, there's not too many guys down this way can say that.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm gonna add in the boxing academic here. You know who? Well, you'll recognize the voice or whatever it is, but boxing academics in
All
the
right, let's
building,
get it.
joining the conversation. What's happening?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
All good, man. All good, man. We just unpacking this thing here with the fight that was supposed to be round your way, man. It ended up getting canceled. We kind of, talked about a little bit, a couple of days ago. But yeah, we just unpacking it, man. So, Mike Williams Jr. just, he just couldn't handle the sparring, man. If you know that you're getting that type of work, man, you gotta be prepared for it. You know what I'm saying? Like Greg was saying in here, like in sparring, that's type of stuff that happens in sparring, unless if you get yourself really ready for it. So for his dad to kind of like go in on Roy Jones for this type of stuff, it's like, man, like like this is part of the game. Like, why don't you have your guy, more prepared for something, where you say, hey, okay, if I know this dude's coming at me, then I should be able to do something to keep him off me. Or like you were saying, G, like it might have been a situation where he didn't, bite down on his mouthpiece and he got caught and he got cracked. So I mean, that happens in sparring.
So just so I'm clear, he wasn't sparring Roy Jones Jr., correct? He was sparring one of the sparring partners in the camp that Roy Jones Jr. was facilitating.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it was, and Greg is talking about, in Carolina, you might not have that as many people around to like be open and ready to spar or to work with over there in the camp in Carolina, in comparison to being out in the DMV or Philadelphia, or it could be New Jersey, New York, that type of thing. So you could have anybody in there, whether it could be
you got to realize they have all those guys. When you're in areas like that, you got all the guys in the gym with you, right? It's like when you in North Carolina, man, it's like I see it in Greensboro. It's like it's certain guys that go above and beyond to come help you. Like I remember one of our guys in Greensboro. I mean, if he's fighting Jamal Freeman, certain guys like that, they'll drive all the way up from Wilson to give them some good work, right? But you don't really luxury. It's like it's certain guys, man, you gotta spar with who's there. I mean, I see guy 150 something pounds spar with a heavyweight, you know what I mean? Or just different weights, man. It's like it's a reason why when somebody like Roy comes along that you run straight to him, because he can put you in certain situations that you're not gonna really get here. Like Roy invites you to camp, right? Guess what? He's gonna have a lot of guys there that's your weight or somewhere around your weight that's gonna give you good work. You can't really get that here. I mean, as a whole, you know what I'm saying? I mean, or you'll get somewhere you might can get the best of them, but they ain't really giving you the quality work that you need. It's like that's just what you have. You limited in North Carolina. That's why if you look at the guys from these areas like this right here, they go other places if they're good enough.
Now on that point, right? So with Michael Williams Jr. there working with Roy Jones, it's one thing if you working over there in Carolina, but if Roy had something there like over in Pensacola or Jimson, Florida, he would have had more people around Michael Williams to get some more work in or get good work around. You know what I'm saying? Or more fighters that could come in. So being in Florida, where you could go to Pensacola, where Roy Jones at, or you could go over to Jacksonville. It's a good drive down I-10 to do that, or some other spots where fighters from Florida could come up and give them some work instead of just being in Carolina. But like you said, like fighters could come from Wilson or Fayetteville, Greensboro, or anything like that. It's different. So
Charlotte.
Yeah,
QC
Charlotte too.
boxing, yeah, places like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
yeah,
So
but
was it
it
Roy
is what
Jones
it
or
is.
not?
It's like
It was a
you don't really have that work.
mhm.
so it was a fighter in camp. It wasn't Roy Jones who broke his jaw.
Nah.
No,
Roy,
from what the dad said, he said it was a 135 pounder, right? That he was sparring with. And but he wasn't, I guess he was at his,
oh, what
I
are you saying?
mean, so let's say he walks around at, from what I heard the dad say in the interview, he said the guy was normally a 135 pounder, but he was just like at his walk around weight. So let's say he's 147, 150 sparring with him, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't Roy Jones. I don't know where that came from, because that's not what the dad said. He was just like, I think a lot of his stuff was in aim what he was speaking on, but it
Yeah.
wasn't Roy.
Yeah. And like you said, that the young guy that was sparring was around like 147, 150. I mean, that's still around like if you going to be in a fight that's where you're listed to be at the super lightweight limit, like usually you'll be around that particular size or weight before you cut, do a weight cut to get down to the 140 or whatever it would have been, so that the kid could have been around the same size, that was sparring with Michael Williams Jr. and still getting that work in. But it's like you said, Greg, like if you as a fighter aren't necessarily used to sparring on the regular, then hey, these things can happen because you're not used to it. But that it's part of the game
It's
though. But
it's a part of the game. It's a part of the
yeah.
game. And then it was like he was speaking on the height of the kid. It was like, AB is what he say, 5'7". The kid that my son was sparring with was 6'1" or something like that, right? Man,
Mhm.
work is work. You know what I mean? It's like, I mean, you got to spar with who's there. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't get it. I can't cry if my son strikes out on a slider, right? you
Mhm.
know, it's a part of the game. You know what I'm saying? It's like I can't cry if my son get hit by the pitch. He plays baseball. It's a part of the
Right.
game.
Yeah.
It is what it is. All of this stuff happens in the game. Now, if I had a chance to work with Ron Washington with my son, would I do it? Hell yeah. Okay, am I gonna cry if Ron called me and say he got hit by the ball? No, it's a part of the game. It is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Was it Ron Washington still the third base coach for the Atlanta Braves out there still, right?
Facts. Correct.
Yeah.
The GOAT.
Yeah. So yeah, man, it's like working with Ron Washington or like
It's
back in the
like,
days, I know that dude, he should still be a coach though. Terry Pendleton, who was Atlanta Braves great too in the past. Like if you work with those guys, you got to see like, hey, this is what happens in baseball. That's hand-eye coordination and also seeing where the ball's coming in at. On the live chat, shout out to Bruce Gas, Boxing Jazz Moore. He said that Michael Williams Sr. just said that Roy Jones wasn't in the camp, that Jones was, on the road with his other fighters. Well, that's interesting to me because then that means I'm like, okay, so then what
I see
happened with
what Bruce
Michael
said.
Williams Jr. then? Then who was with Michael Williams Jr. when dude was sparring in? So something don't sound right with
No,
that.
I thought he said. I thought he said that he was there and
Yeah. He's going.
where he didn't know.
He's going in and out, but like I listened to the like a snippet there, from that interview that was on the thing with Michael Williams Sr. and Mark Nash, and Michael Williams Sr. was saying like, hey, he like Jones was there, and then like after a few rounds at sparring, like Michael Williams Jr. went to the corner, and he said like something was up with his mouth or whatever it was, and that Roy was there with him, and he said like, okay, we'll cut it. We'll stop this joint, and then all of a sudden, like Senior was talking about, like his son called him and said, "Yo, something's wrong with my mouth and all that type of stuff." And it's like I was saying, like if you had that type of issue, like why wasn't it checked right then? You would have had. I would have just had it, had him go to the nearest clinic or go to the hospital right then, and just had that thing checked out, But it says Bruce says that I guess he had another interview with what is this? World Combat Sports. Yeah, well, I mean, I had to see what he's saying on that. But going up to back to the thing with Michael Williams Jr. Man, like this was a serious come up for him. Like he was having the fights there with who was it? Julio Butrado, and but he got knocked out by John Bowser, But you said like, hey, he ended up getting work, but they still like gave Michael Williams Jr. the decision on one of them joints, But I don't know, man.
Well,
yeah, it's just a whole little situation, and they had it.
I hate that he missed the opportunity to get the payday.
Yeah.
I mean, I really do. I mean, that's what you're in the game for, and I guarantee you, I mean, those opportunities don't come around a lot, So I hate that for him. I mean, he seems like a real good kid. You hate to see things like that happen, but it goes with the sport.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he can get back in line, and hopefully he get another opportunity. But I mean, I think Broner owned it. They was wanting the right guy to make AB look good, and just so happened they thought it was him. So I mean, we'll see. I was hoping that he was gonna shock the world if the fight would have happened, just because I mean, underdog, North Carolina kid. I mean, why not? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I would have been rooting for him, but I hate that it didn't happen, man. I was looking for that fight just to see what AB was gonna look like. I mean, he's lost a lot of weight. I mean, he's looking like he's back serious, so I was sort of hoping that the fight was going to take place.
Yeah, man. Like I was saying in the press release for the cancellation, they said they were postponing it, and Broner was saying like, "Hey, I worked my ass off, and I see what the bottom really looked like, for the first time." So he said he looked in the mirror and told himself that I'm not that person that I got off my ass and went to work. So he said, his last few months, they're working with Kevin Cunningham. He's kind of like, got himself back into shape, got himself in a good little condition and was ready to go and stuff like that. So, we'll see like what happens as far as like updated news reference that. They say that they're pushing it to a later date. But and I kind of like talked about this yesterday in another conversation on Twitter. Shout out to Jake Donovan, reporter there for Boxing Scene. He was on there with Lefty, and we were talking about it, and we said, I mean, even with this whole little situation, they said like, hey, if the thing was going to be pulled off because the tickets weren't moving. You know what I'm saying? There were a lot of open seats that were available for that fight card, and I know that me and you, Greg, were talking about it with the lead promoter there, Christy Martin, and I'm like, I mean, it is what it is. They done had some type of card that they were trying to put together. I know that it was supposed to be Mickey Bay versus Tevin Farmer that was also supposed to be on there, but I don't know, man. Shout out to Matt Gomez on the live chat. He said Broner should have given Adrien Broner a call. I don't know, man. Berto's still up there north of 147, I think, man. So I don't think that would have worked out. Maybe he said there are a lot of junior welterweights that would take the fight, like
I'm gonna be honest. I was hoping that I hated that they pulled the boy from Philly, right? That's who because he's a dog.
Yeah.
I mean, he could get beat 100 times, but he's coming to fight every time. He's gonna always put on a good show. I really think that would have been a good little scrap.
Yeah, but
yeah, and then it was like they were saying something about a promoter, Hank Lundy. Yeah, that's who I was really wanting that fight, the Lundy and Broner fight. I think that entertaining because Hank is a dog, man. He's a dog. He's gonna come to fight. If he get knocked out, he get knocked out. He gonna get up and talk shit like the Philly way, you know. So that's the fight. That's the fight that I was wanting, bro. I was wanting him and Lundy. And then it's always the business aspect. Okay, let's talk about the dad was saying something about that he got phone calls from a black well-known promoter and a white well-known promoter, right? And they were offering him half of the purse to not fight. I'm like, you know, do you think that the powers that be in boxing doesn't want Broner to fight? Is it somebody who would want to sabotage the fight for Broner? You know, because that's if that's it's gotta be, you know, for Broner can't make any money. It's like it was a lot of things that was said in the interview that you know that really wasn't clarified. You know, it was like the way the things that, you know, was insinuated when it come to Roy. Do you think it's almost like, do you think Roy took some money or something to try to sabotage the fight? Like, what were you really trying to say? You know what I'm saying?
I don't know what that would come from. Like why? I don't know why he would say like, oh, Roy took some side money just for the fight not to happen, or you know, anything like that. You know, that kind of like, you know, sounds strange to me, because it's like if you're gonna put that out there,
I mean,
you know,
if you're gonna put it out there, you need to clarify just a little bit more. You know what I mean? It's like if I'm gonna put out something that like that, but it's just like it's almost like I'm ranting. You know, if I'm gonna say, okay, you're gonna give me half of my purse, which I don't know what the purse was. I know they said he was gonna get a piece of the pay-per-view. All right, so you're gonna give me half of the purse, and it's 2 anonymous phone calls, right? It's like it's that it didn't happen, you know. I'm not saying that it did. I would just like to wish he would have went a little bit more into detail about it. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, you know, what are you really trying to say when it comes to Roy? It's like, cause you saying things about him, but then you saying that you love him. You know, it's like, you know, your son got hurt, but then you saying, I didn't want to talk to. It would have been a lot of arguing and cussing and this and that. He may have said something that he really didn't want to say, right? But it's like, why would Roy Jones Jr. want to sabotage the fight? I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. And then it's like you go on to say, when y'all pulled up, Roy's wife said, oh, Eubanks just got knocked out and it's hurting our brand and all of this and that. It's like that goes with the territory. If Freddie Roach is training you and he go on the streak of all his fighters getting beat, right?
Right.
Does it stop Freddie from training? No, he still trains. You understand? So it's like, say what you really want to say.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, you got you know, who they said.
You know, I mean, that's my thing. It's like I was saying, you got a number of people that called you know, who it was out there, Bob Santos, trainer of the year last year.
But we still had the thing there where Hector Luis Garcia was unsuccessful against Tank Davis. But I don't understand. Like all trainers have those days where they drop the ball. You know what I'm saying, or their fighter doesn't come through. Who was it? That was Andy Ruiz Jr.'s trainer. He was also training Charles Martin, Manny Robles, right? Like Manny Robles was training Andy Ruiz Jr. when he beat Anthony Joshua for the belt. And then the next fight, Ruiz Jr. loses, and everything. He ends up leaving. Robles. Robles has like his son. She has a few other people. He had like another fighter that was, I think, that was part of the fight card on Friday night on Showbox. They ended up falling short by decision too. So these trainers, they have their high points and they have their low points. So I mean, it ain't no different with Roy Jones Jr. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like
who
else was with him?
And to be honest with you, right, it's not gonna hurt Roy Jones' brand one way or the other. I mean, he's still one of the most electrifying, most athletic fighters to ever step foot in the ring. You know what I mean? It's like, Roy's still gonna be Roy, and he's still gonna, if he choose to train other fighters, I mean, they gonna be there for him to train. Oh, let's big up another Carolina kid, Jahan Ingram. You see him rock Rolly and Spawn?
Oh yeah. They were talking about that joint there before that news came down about Rolly. I'm still kind of bloated about that news too. Like how is it that he could come off of a loss at 135 where they were trying to consolidate, belts or whatever they were trying to do at 135 with the WBA. And then all of a sudden, his next bout is going to be at 140 pounds, and it's going to be against the world champ at 140 pounds. You had like a number of fighters that were contenders at 140 that could have fought for the belt, after Alberto Puello won the belt. And that was a vacant belt for Puello to win. That was supposed to be on that card for Broner versus Omar Figueroa Jr., right? So Puello won the belt against Akhmadov, and that was a close fight. Some people thought Akhmadov won that fight, but still, you had it where you had all these contenders, including, Gary Antoine Russell, I spoke with, a couple weeks ago. And all of a sudden, now they put Rolly Romero in the rankings at 140, and they said, hey, okay, we got you inside for this fight for the belt at 140. I'm like, I don't understand that.
Hey, they don't want no part of Antoine. Antoine's a dog, man. That kid's something different, bro. They already know, them Russell boys something different, man. Especially, when that cat come, he's coming to fight.
Yeah.
It's almost like he's one of the most avoided men in boxing, because he's right around the weight classes that, hey, man, these guys are looking for fights. I mean, he's right there in front of you. I mean, there's a fight out there that could be made that will be huge in your area. The last fight that was up there, that wasn't as big as this fight could be, and you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. But that other fighter has some business that he's gonna be taking care of.
Obligations. Yeah, he has obligations. Yeah,
he has.
But I mean, that would be a fight. He has obligations.
Yeah, that would be a real fight. But there is also another fighter
I would love to see that fight up in that area around end of the summer or fall of the year. Bro, the DMV would be crazy, man. It would be crazy.
Because I know that Antoine was talking about, hey, he wanted to fight Regis Prograis, Regis Prograis, of course, just won the
Yeah.
belt. He's another, two-time world champ. And is there, WBC champ, and they're like, hey, Jose Ramirez don't want to fight him. He want to go ahead and fight Richard Comey. Teofimo Lopez ain't fighting him. They trying to say, oh, we gonna try to make a fight between Lopez and Josh Taylor. And I'm like, okay, well then number 3 is right there, Gary Antoine Russell. What's happening? But they
Lopez trying to find himself after that last.
Hold on, which joint?
Lopez trying to find himself. I said Lopez trying to find himself after that last fight.
Yeah. That Sandor Martin fight there,
he needs a fight where he feel like he can get his feet back up on them. Because that last fight was a rough one for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. And I thought that, he would have, tried to open up there a little bit more against Sandor Martin. And know that Martin was like a tough, guy to try to catch up to. But that's something where you gotta like say, hey, here's where you could make adjustments, as a fighter to say, okay, this is what you do when he's going here. You gotta learn how to cut the ring off. You gotta learn how to set your opponent up to, open them up for more shots. And he didn't really do that, over the course of that bout. And so I'm like, well, if you're gonna be like that, then like you can't like be in the ring there against someone like a Josh Taylor. If Josh Taylor is gonna be, at his fullest potential, because Taylor at the top of his game is like, probably one of the best, or like you said, he was the undisputed champion there at 140. So he would kind of really work Teofimo Lopez and give him a serious wake up call if they went straight into that particular bout. So I don't know if that would kind of be a good move there for Teofimo Lopez. He should, go ahead and have another, fill out bout there at 140 pounds before, trying to jump in against someone like, Josh Taylor or something like that. That wouldn't be a good look for him. You know what I mean?
Nah, it wouldn't. I think Josh gonna give him what he's been looking for. It's like a lot of times you think you picking a easy fight or a fight you can win. It doesn't work out like that, but nothing against him. I'm tired of hearing his dad rant, another dad, you know what I'm saying? So it wouldn't hurt my feelings to see Josh rock him and put him in the back of the line. And then let some of these new kids come on like Russell and get the new wave going.
Yeah, that's for sure. There was like one other 140-pound guy that was mentioned on the live chat that, like I keep saying, he won the World Rumble in his last bout. Montana Love, who sent Steve Spark over the top rope there in that bout that he had last year, so I'm like saying, like, I have to see what, Eddie Hearn has lined up for him next. They, at that particular time, they were having Montana Love against Steve Spark, but it could have, they tried to see if they could put him up there against Richardson Hitchens, there at 140. So that could have been, a little scrap there for Matchroom to have at 140 pounds to see like who would have been like the next wave up that's trying to build their way up as far as like getting to the top of the 140-pound rankings. So there's a good number of fighters there at 140 pounds that you could set up some good fights. It's just how to get them to be in the ring instead of like having some of these fights that were ended up happening, so to speak, or whatnot. So
that's an interesting division, man. I mean, 140, man. It's a lot of talent in that division, man. I mean, it's like, how do we get him in the ring? I mean, that's the question. It could be some entertaining fights if if the promoters could find a way to make it work, you know,
Yeah.
it's a lot of action at 140. It's a whole lot.
Yeah, there definitely is a lot of action at 140. Speaking of that, this Saturday coming up, you got for the vacant IBF light or super lightweight title. You got Subriel Matias there. He's gonna be in there battling for that vacant title, and that's gonna be a scrap there, man. A number of people. I know that Matias has kind of been hot, in his streak or whatever it is. But I'm seeing that some people are saying that, hey, Matias might lose this fight. That's going to be a real bout. I know that Matias had avenged his lone loss there when he defeated Petros Ananyan, but now against Ponce is there like 30-0. And they say like he could be the goods, man. It's just that they've been trying to have this fight go down for months, and now they finally was able to get Ponce to come over to the States, so now you can have this fight. So we'll see how that goes, man. It's going to be out there in Minnesota. Jamal James is going to be, coming back, fighting in his hometown and in that fight card too. So that's going to be, there. I think that's Showtime telecast in the Armory. So that'll be a good little card to check out next Saturday, man. I know they had the joints, yesterday. Leigh Wood versus Mauricio Lara. Mauricio Lara is over there taking over the UK. He might be the new king of the UK or something. What it was a couple of years ago. He knocked out
Josh too well for Lara.
He knocked out Josh Warrington a couple of years ago. I said he probably would have knocked him out again in the rematch, but a clash of heads, kind of stopped that bout. But Lara, kept on winning after that. Then got this bout here against against Leigh Wood. I know Leigh Wood, kind of said he said, oh man, he had this, what it was, knockout of the year, and last year, and he was able to defend the belt that time. But here against Mauricio Lara, I just said, man, I knew that Lara was gonna get him. They were like eventually he was gonna get him, because think about it was like with Leigh Wood when he fought Mick Conlan last year. Like Mick Conlan was outboxing him for the majority of the bout. So it was only like in that last little minute in the 12th round that Leigh Wood was able to catch him, and he did still send him straight to hell, but it was still like in the 12th round, and the thing was, man, all and the funny thing is, like Chris Chuck was talking about, man, that left hook from Mauricio Lara, that's pretty much all he was throwing the whole fight, right? And the thing about it was,
it's something different.
Sometimes the same boxing, you don't want to hook a hooker, and that's exactly what Leigh Wood tried to do. He was there upright trying to throw left hook. And man, Mauricio Lara was just set, had his stance there, was low, and just used his body and bam, caught him right in the chin, boom. And Leigh Wood went to the ground. And I was like, oh man, see, I knew that was gonna happen. And I know that Leigh Wood, got up. And there was only about 12 seconds left in the round. But your boy Chris Jericho, Ben Davison, ended up throwing the towel anyway, and stopped the bout. So, hey, you got, Mauricio Lara, new champ, WBA featherweight champion, and, shout out to him, man. He was out there, man. He, took down Josh Warrington. A lot of people thought Josh Warrington was like one of the top guys in featherweight at the time, and he ended up knocking him out. And then here we are a couple years later, fight Leigh Wood. Leigh Wood was coming off that win over Mick Conlon and stuff,
Right.
and we ended up knocking him out. So I know that Leigh Wood wants that rematch with Mauricio Lara, and yeah, he was looking pretty good there, against Lara, when he was boxing a few of those rounds. But like, if you ain't able to seriously hurt Mauricio Lara, it don't matter if it's round 1 or round 10 or something. If you get caught flush by him, he gonna drop you. He gonna drop you. So yeah, I was like, I just knew that Mauricio Lara was gonna get that win. And I was looking at leading up to the fight too. They had Josh Warrington out there, and they were talking about, oh man, look, hey, we could possibly have Leigh Wood versus Josh Warrington there for the WBA belt. That probably would have been a real big fight there in the UK. And I'm like, oh man, I was like, yo, y'all just don't know. It's just a matter of time. Mauricio Lara's gonna catch him, and it's gonna be a wrap. And that's exactly what happened. I was like, oh man, that was wild.
It was. It just didn't go his way.
But yeah,
didn't go his way.
But it's like you were saying, they were trainers. You got Ben Davison, right? Like Ben be there, either the head trainer, like there for like someone like Leigh Wood. He was in there with like Josh Taylor too. Y'all remember with Josh Taylor, had his bout there. He was getting cooked. I said he was getting cooked in Josh Taylor's last fight. And Ben Davison was there as well, man. And I'm like, yo, I don't know, man. Like, sometimes Ben Davison out there be looking like a cheerleader of sorts. And there's been a couple of times when, a few trainers out there in the UK have criticized Ben Davison for the way that, he works with his fighters there in the ring too. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, if he gets Leigh Wood back in there in the ring against Mauricio Lara, man, I don't know. I mean, he could, still have that same type of, fight in a rematch. But if he gets caught again, is he gonna throw in the towel again? I don't know.
Yeah, he's been criticized before. He's like you say, he's more like a cheerleader in your corner versus being instructional. I've always liked the instructional type trainers more than just like a support system, if you know what I mean. Give me some be my compass of the ring, tell me what you see. Just don't be in there give me that rah-rah Rocky speech. It doesn't work.
Yeah. And that's kind of the thing there with a number of these trainers is they'll be in there and they'll be cheerleaders or whatever it is, but don't really have some type of strategy, or at least give the fighter an adjustment in the middle of a fight for them to get the momentum back in there. So, and that's kind of like been a story with a couple of fighters, a couple of notable fighters as well. And so that's why they kind of like changing the game up, or as far as like changing trainers and stuff like that. So we got to see how that goes. You know what I'm saying? But like speaking of that, man, I know that we're probably working on trying to get a fighter to be on for an interview on the show in the future, and that's Jermaine Franklin. And Jermaine Franklin, of course, is going to be fighting Anthony Joshua April 1st. And the news with Anthony Joshua was, hey, he's working with Derek James over there in Dallas. So Joshua's there in camp. There with Derek James. Derek James is, talked a couple of times and, said that, hey, I mean, Joshua's there to work, and, he's kind of like out there working with, Errol Spence there and Mel Charlo and all them fighters out there. So we gonna see here over these next few weeks how Joshua works out there with Derek James, and if there's something that Derek James could change up, there with Anthony Joshua leading into that bout on April 1st. But on the flip side, we got to see what's up with Jermaine Franklin. I mean, he was able to build off of the fight there against Dylan White to get this fight here with Anthony Joshua. So he's definitely going to be working very hard to try to say, hey, this is a fight that I've been waiting for to show how good I really am. So we got to see how that goes. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm working about getting Jermaine Franklin.
This is my only thing with that, right?
Yo, what's that?
This is my only thing with Joshua, right? Okay. I said this is my only thing with Joshua. Derrick James is a proven trainer, right? Derrick James is not a magician. He's proven. Like, I don't want Joshua. I'm hoping for the best. Let's say if Joshua don't look good, because we already see he went to Oxnard, right, with Garcia. All right, he left Garcia. Okay, now you with Derrick. If you don't look good after with Garcia and Derrick, don't blame the trainer. It's you. You know what I mean? It's like, you get tired of them use the trainers like as a stepping stone because of their lack of performance, right? I mean, Joshua at first, he would come in and he was trying to destroy you. Then he tried to lean his body down and try to be more of a boxer. It's like, what is Joshua's true identity as a fighter? Because it's like your condition isn't that great. You still blow hot. Joshua, you need to just go in and try to get him out of there. It's like, I don't understand. I get tired of these guys, going to a different trainer and then you try to blame the trainer, man. It's like, man, these trainers are doing the best they can with your abilities that you have. They're not magicians. They can't just make you into a elite fighter and make your skill set better have. It's like it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. I mean, he's been in the game for a while, but don't come and try to tarnish what Derrick James has worked his butt off for. He's respectable trainer of the year. I mean, he's doing his thing. Okay, I'm hoping for the best because I don't want to hear the BS afterwards where you trying to criticize Derrick.
Yeah. And I think Derrick kind of talked about this a little bit with I think it was Akam Barak or something like that, is that one of the major issues with Joshua in like his recent, few encounters or, few fights and whatnot, and how he was, preparing for it, was that he had a lot of yes men around him, a lot of people that were coddling him, saying he's this and that, he's the best, you don't really need to do much or anything at all. It's like you could just show up and win. And that, after, those two losses to Alexander Usyk, that didn't, really cut it. So he's like pretty much saying, hey, I'm, just, cut myself off from all of those yes men or whatever it was. And that thing, and now we're going to see, what that's going to turn out with while it's with Derrick James here, for at least his first upcoming bout on April 1st against, Jermaine Franklin, and then we'll see what happens with him after that. I know that there are some people that say, hey, maybe he should, go up and step up and face like a Tyson Fury next after that, if Tyson Fury has a bout with Alexander Usyk or not in March or whatever it is, or April. But I think that, after the fight with Jermaine Franklin, if he's successful against Jermaine Franklin, he may still just go ahead and have that third match with Dylan White. Shout out to those just joining in on the live chat. Tip Bayless, Undercard and Boxing in there, and Mr. Major Key Boxing in the building. Yo, what's up? What's going on? What's good with y'all, man? The thing is, going back to the main topic there with the whole thing with Adrien Broner, and Michael Williams Jr. Tim Bayless on here saying to blame the inevitable on Roy Jones is nasty, and he said like that kid's jaw could have broke before or during the fight, but to just blame Roy is flat out disrespect. That's pretty much what we was talking about. It's part of the game. That's boxing. If you spar, you that could end up happening. You could hurt your jaw. You could have a leg injury or something, or your shoulder could get messed up or something like that. All of that stuff happens in sparring. It happens all the time. Like I kind of see people like either twist their ankle or sprain their ankle or whatever it is during sparring. I mean, it's part of the game. But that's what happens in fights. It's like, but I think with the way that a lot of how these main events are set up and how much is like invested into these main events, it's almost like they do want to actually have try to hold these fighters and like have them be on like I said, like have them wearing silk pajamas and sleeping on like the softest beds or something like that leading up to the fight. You know what I'm saying? So there's that. What else we got here on the live? It said Undercard and Boxing. Shout out to Undercard and Boxing there. It says Fury is not fighting Usyk or Joshua. I don't know about all that. He says that he's going to be fighting by a certain date and he doesn't care who. But I mean, that's just Fury being Fury. They were saying that he was saying the same thing when they were potentially talking about Tyson Fury fighting Anthony Joshua, back last summer before, Tyson Fury ended up having his fourth fight with Derek Chisora. So there's that, man. But that's mainly most of the stuff that I was gonna chop down, man. What is it? Matt talking about Jared Anderson ready to step up. That's a young. Yeah, he's a real good fighter, man. I'll try to see if I could, get up with Jared Anderson. He will be part of that card on April 8th.
You think he's ready to step up?
Yeah. I mean, he's there. He's like in a couple of rankings out there. You know what I'm saying? In the heavyweight rankings in the WBC and I think the WBO. So he might see. We'll see what he has as far as like an opponent on April 8th in Newark, New Jersey for that.
If you were handling Jared, right? If you was handling Jared, right? Who would you want to put him against? Like a name heavyweight guy, like now, to bring him out. What fight do you think would make the most sense for the kid's future?
After his fight against Jerry Forrest, the guy that I wanted him to fight next was Leigh Zhang. But Leigh Zhang's going to be fighting Joe Joyce. So that's the thing, man. Shout out to Don Shapansky with the super sticker, man. We appreciate the support here on the Boxing Source. Shout out to you. Matt with another question. What's up with Jarrell Big Baby Miller? Well, if you follow or if you go on the channel, we've had multiple conversations with this promoter, Dimitri Salita of Salita Promotions. Jarrell Miller, is slowly, getting himself back into it, back in the mix. He is actually re-entered in one of the heavyweight rankings. And I think I think he does have something coming up. I'm not mistaken, but I confirm that. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, he could be facing what is it? Who was the former? It was like a former WBA champ at heavyweight. He got knocked out by Dylan White sometime back. Who is it? The Australian cat. I think that's who he's facing. Yeah, Lucas Brown. He's gonna be fighting Lucas Brown on March 18th. Yeah, so it's gonna be Jarrell Miller versus Lucas Brown, March 18th. Yeah, I had to figure out what that was because I knew that Jarrell Miller was back in the ring. I just I forgot.
Yeah, I'm pulling for Big Baby Miller.
Like, yeah, he got to get himself back up though, because like when he was getting back in there, a couple of fights. He had a couple of fights. Last year he was up there, man. I'm telling you, talk about Big Baby. Yeah, he was up there. So he had his like last bout in July. So yeah, I see that would kind of be the thing there, man. Shout out to Android uppercut. The real big baby, the real big baby, Jared Anderson is going to be ready for the elite heavyweights much earlier than we all expect. Hey, I'll tell you this, man. I was with his head trainer there. Shout out to Nery Riley. I was with his head trainer over in Vegas, some time back, and he's definitely ready, and he'd be working out there, back and forth in Houston and also at the top ranked gym in Las Vegas. And he's gonna be definitely ready to contend in the top level. I know that there was I think Matt had mentioned this guy fighter, FB Jogba. I said, maybe they have Jared Anderson versus FB Jogba, but that's not gonna happen. They've sparred multiple times, over and over and over again. They're not gonna match up those two guys. That's never gonna happen. So that's why I was saying there, G, that I thought that Jared Anderson going up against someone like as Leigh said, would have been a great fight for him next, but they're not necessarily going to do that. So I as of right now, I don't know who else that they could kind of call up for Jared Anderson. Although I did see a heavyweight out there at the top ranked gym when I was there a couple weeks ago, a former world champion that was up there at the top ranked gym that was doing some work, but I don't think he would be the guy that would be an opponent there, for Jared Anderson. But I don't know who would you kind of like suggest as a possible opponent for Jared.
Oh man. I think Jared has a bright future, right? I would probably let him go 2 more fights, right?
Uh-huh.
And then I would test him. You know what I mean? Probably 2 more, then I would test him. It's like, because you got to look at the division, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, of course, Tyson, he's like the guy. He's so elusive. It's like nobody wants to fight him. I mean, and then Wilder is reckless but explosive, right? Where one punch is like, and he's so hard to like prepare for. You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of hard to say. You know what I mean? Because you don't want to put him in and you putting them in, you stepping them up a little bit too fast, but you don't want to hold them back either. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, and that's the thing, man.
So I mean,
like what else you think on that? Hold on, what you were saying?
I didn't hear you say that again.
No, I was like, what you were saying after that?
I said I didn't hear what you were saying. I was trying to read. The audio got mixed up.
Oh, okay. No, my thing with Jared, he's out there. He's ranked what I'd say the WBC. He's ranked at number 11 in the WBC, right? And he's ranked number 9 in the WBO. And yeah, like those potential
Mhm.
matchups, like you were saying, like Wilder, I don't think that would be a possible fight that could happen. Um, I mean, there's like some other guys that are out there, like maybe an Otto Walling. I haven't really heard much from Otto Walling, fighting, except for like one fight that happened. I think it was like in New Jersey or in or Pennsylvania or something. But outside of that, I really haven't heard much from Otto Walling. But that could be a potential bout. But that's something that, like I said, I would have to, talk with his promoter, Demetrius Salita about. But we'll see how that goes. Hey, that's another good opponent. Matt Gomez on the live chat, kind of like mentioned someone else. Kubrat Pulev. That could be another. That could be an experienced guy. World title contender there in Kubrat Pulev. That could be a potential opponent there for Jared Anderson. I mean, Jared Anderson beat Jerry Forrest, who fell short against Kubrat Pulev last year as well. So maybe Pulev could be another opponent that Jared Anderson could face out there. And the thing with Pulev is he's kind of like a tough guy himself. We all saw that him
Correct.
taking a number of punches there from Anthony Joshua in that title fight. So that could be a good one. That could be a good action scrap there for Jared Anderson.
Yeah, possibility. I mean, he would probably be the safest bet of the known guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, if I was gonna pick one of the names, it would probably be him. Though. I mean, because the other guys is like, I just think they're a little bit. They polished a little bit more than he is right now. Because I mean, with Garcia fight, he's looking. He's not. He looked that good with Garcia. Now he's with James. We gotta wait to see how he looks with James. But I'm just a component that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. I don't think James is gonna change him that much, and that's who I would choose if I was handling him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Once you get to a certain point in your career, or if like you peaked in your career, it's very difficult to try to get some new elements added to your game.
And he's peaked. I mean, one time he was promising. He was looking very promising, right? So, but like you said, you got the wrong guys in your corner. They're making you think that you're bigger than life. When you come in there BSing around, it sort of reminds you of that era of Tyson after, Jim Jacobs had passed and Don had, helped them move on Clayton and Kevin Rooney, and then, they could really control him. You know what I'm saying? He was just doing what he wanted, and they was just around for the bag.
Mm-hmm.
So that never helps a fighter. Never helps them. Somebody's got to be honest with you and tell you the truth. You look like shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And especially when you get to a certain point that you could have these big wins, but if you go up against certain fighters that have like a certain background,
right,
or have been in the game longer
right,
than you have,
that's
then
like
you gotta be
that's
on
like
your
don't
A game.
forget, right, that's like the fight that me and you spoke on several times. That's coming up in the future. Plants against Benavidez, right? I mean, we talked about it several times, and I love you regardless, but I think that Plants is Plants. He's gonna be winning on the scorecard like he always do. He's slick, polished. I just think that Benavidez power will prevail. Again, it's two fights that we haven't really saw eye to eye on. You know, usually we are right there, but I just think that the power is gonna overwhelm him about mid rounds when he started to blow hot. You know, you already saw it against the cinnamon head kid. You know, you
Sancho,
seen it.
so
It's gonna probably be about the
Barca.
same.
About to
He was
say,
looking marvelous. Yeah,
we'll
was
see.
looking
I mean, I kind
he
of
was looking marvelous, my brother, until the heavy bombs started coming.
yeah. Yeah, I think you know, he ended up getting tired and slowed down, and Canelo caught up to him. So I mean, we'll see what happens March 25th. I mean, it's gonna be that's gonna be a good little scrap there in Vegas. Like I said, I wish I could go there, but you know, they had just announced the whole thing, or finally it's official, or whatever it is, or you know, they signed the contracts or whatnot. So
I
you
got a
got
question
Tank
for you.
versus Ryan. What up?
What's the rehydration clause? What's the clause on rehydration?
Oh, for Tank Ryan? Well, I gotta get the details on that one. I gotta see how
I mean, because that right there is that right there is gonna be a very key part of this matchup. You know what I'm saying? Because Benavidez is a lot bigger guy, and that doesn't always mean anything. But I mean, if he comes in weight, you know, of course,
Mm-hmm.
I could be wrong. I mean, anybody can clip anybody. We've seen it, right?
Uh-huh.
But if I had to bet, you know, I think Benavidez is catch him later on in the fight and hurt Caleb.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. The thing that I looked at is still for that Tank versus Ryan. It's gonna be contracted weight at 136 pounds, so a pound north of the lightweight limit.
Yeah, I saw that 136, correct.
Yeah. Um, and the thing
Okay, so
is
with
like,
that being said,
mhm.
who who do, who you think get the advantage from that? You think that
Tank,
Tank gets the advantage, or do you think
Tank,
it favors Ron?
Tank, because I mean, we kind of like talk about
Like
it. Ryan,
when
Ryan
I
is a
look at
big
that
kid.
fight right there, it reminds me of the Santa Cruz fight all over again.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
Ron is gonna be winning points. He's long, he's lanky, he's fast, but then his whole head is gonna come off when Tank
yeah,
catches him.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing that Tank Davis has been doing is like he allows his opponent to get his offense going because he's like, you know what? I'm gonna be able to take a couple of punches and I'm gonna use that in order to, you know, set up my opponent, you know. And he did that against
Because I
Neil
mean,
Santa Cruz.
if
He did that against
if you
Hercules
look at
Garcia.
Tank, man, right? If you look at Tank, I mean, it's almost like he tricks him. He sets traps. You know, he's backing up like he's cautious, right? But he's so explosive that any one shot can end the fight. And it's almost like he's playing mind games with him, you know, because everybody like, oh, why is Tank backing up? Why is Tank doing this and that? But then a round or two later, fight's over. It's almost like it's his tactic, you know what I mean? To make you feel comfortable, all right? The more comfortable he gets you, the more vulnerable you is for him to hit you with his big shots.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, my thing is like he's gonna have you know, Garcia kind of like confident in that he's gonna allow him to get off. He's gonna allow him to, you know, get his jab going and then try to catch him with that counter, you know. And I know that there's there's like people on the live chat right now that say, "Hey, you know what? They see the upset coming. They see that Ryan Garcia is going to beat Tank Davis." I'm like,
They see the
"Hey,
upset talking about Ryan Garcia. Yeah,
yeah,
I've heard a lot of people say that. They talking about, yeah, Ryan Garcia gonna upset. Yeah, it sounds good. I mean, you always got to have that suspense, right? It
mm-hmm.
sounds good. Ryan is gonna upset him. Then you wake up and you see that what you thought the first time is what's really gonna happen. Tank is explosive. Can't take Ryan can't take Tank shots, man. I mean,
Yeah,
point blank. I mean, Ryan Garcia would have to be perfect all
mm-hmm.
night long to beat Tank. And I don't think he can be. I mean, watch. Tank gonna take him in probably about the 8th round, 9th round, and the fight's over. I mean, Ryan is gonna come out and he's gonna try to be fast and explosive and all of that shit that he does. And then after that, I'm gonna tell you the fight's gonna be over. When Tank hits him, the fight's over.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be long over." I said, "You got Z said that Brian Garcia is not Rolly Romero or Leo Santa Cruz. That he's about to shock the world and beat Tank Davis."
Hey,
I'm
who
like,
said
hey,
that?
it's like this dude on the
They
live
said
chat.
They said Ryan gonna shock the world.
Yeah, he said, "Hey, he's not Rolly Romero or Leo Santa Cruz." Say, hey, I'm telling you, hey, you feel like that, cool. You go ahead, you know what I'm saying? You know, you got the betting odds, you know,
Yeah,
they pretty
tell him
much
he have
got Tank Davis, you know, favorite
tell him he has
significantly.
it. He has that choice to feel however he want to feel, right? But I'm
Mm-hmm.
telling you, man, the boy's legs, he don't have no base up on them. Yeah, the jab
Yeah.
and the fast stuff from the videos look good, right? But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
shit, dog. Hey, look, when Tank get to hit you with them bombs, it's a different story. These ain't the little spawn guys that you spawn with, right? You know what I mean? And
Hey,
then if you look at when he spawned with certain guys, they breaking them up. You know,
right.
dropping them like a bad habit. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Mm-hmm.
so if Rolly's hurting you in spawn, what's Tank gonna do to you, man? I mean, he's a whole lot more explosive than Rolly. Rolly just big. You know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah.
like, I like that they think like that, but I'm gonna tell you, man. I'm telling you right now, don't put no
Well,
money on it.
I mean, I gotta see if this thing official on the
Don't put no money on Ryan Garcia,
I
cause
gotta
you and
see if
Oscar
this
De La
thing
Hoya is gonna be sad that night.
I gotta see if this if they put it official on the thing for Caesars, but they got Tate Davis as a favorite there. What is it? Minus 260. And Ryan Garcia is at plus 210. So you gonna put down, 100, you get, 210, on that.
210.
So I mean, hey, if you feel like you very confident on that, then hey, that's the business. I gotta see if there's any other spots out there. Man, I ain't seen nothing yet. But that's like the only one I've seen out there so far on the odds. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's gonna be a big event, and I'm planning on trying to show up for that joint April 15th. The hype for this fight, shout out to Android Uppercut on here. The hype for this fight is going to be unlike anything we have seen since Floyd versus Pacquiao. Let people have their opinion on Ryan. It just adds to the hype. Yeah,
Yeah.
I noticed that a lot of celebs are picking Ryan Garcia. But that's the thing. It's like, people are talking about it.
And
They don't really,
celebs, listen to what you're saying. A lot of celebs are picking
yeah,
Ryan Garcia, right?
yeah,
What do
yeah.
the celebs know about boxing?
Yeah, and that's the thing though. But at least at least they talk about it. And that's the key is that people are talking about the fight, And that's what make and people that aren't necessarily used to speaking about boxing and other events like that we be talking about every single week or whatever it is, or every single month. They only talk about it like once a year. And so, when they say Tank versus Ryan, you'll have
Right.
like
And
my
then you also
cousin.
got to realize you got to take this
Yeah.
in consideration. Like when they talk about Ryan Garcia is very popular, right? He's almost like the Paul Boys in a sense when you look at his
Right.
following, right? So of course, when you look at all the celebs, I mean, he's California guy, right? Of course they gonna talk about him. They probably got a personal relationship with some of them, right? But when it comes to fighting, that's totally opposite, man. Like nobody cares about your followers. That only tells you one thing: it's gonna sell a lot of tickets. And if you look at today's time, that's all they go by. I don't care what you do. If you can have a lot of followings, right?
Yeah.
People gonna give you opportunities that you do not deserve. So with that being said, his following are just gonna come there to watch him go to sleep that night. That's all gonna happen.
Yep, that's basically it, man. That's basically it. I
But
say
it's
it
gonna be
like
entertaining. I can't wait to watch it.
it'll be entertaining as long as it lasts. But hey, I just see like another little scrap, man.
That's what you
Like
said.
the
You want
thing
that one?
about it is that you for
It's not hot.
for Ryan Garcia to come up and kind of come through it and get this win, it's gonna be something monumental. So that's the thing.
Right. Leo
Ezekiel
Santa
here
Cruz
talking
fight all
about,
over again.
hey, he didn't fight a legit 135-pound man in Hector Luis Garcia. Yeah, but y'all forget. Tank Davis came up from 130 pounds to be fighting guys at 135 and at 140 pounds. So I mean, hey, it happens all the time. It's not like that's something that's brand new. Like he came up from 130 to fight guys at 135. So if he's able to beat guys at 135
Right.
from 130, so Hector Luis Garcia could have had that shot to do it. So why not? With that being said, that's mainly what I got here for this
Right.
version here on the podcast. Shout out to G for coming in here, chopping it up with us. So we'll get back on the box
Hey,
to talk
bro,
here.
listen, we're gonna have to start doing this more often. I
Yeah, for sure,
enjoyed
man.
it, my man.
For sure.
Yeah,
So yeah, we'll get back at it next week or whatnot and see what's happening there, man. And
okay, my brother.
yeah, no doubt,
Yeah,
man.
we'll go
No
from
doubt.
there. And look, like I say, I'll holler at you and we'll go from there. Same time
All right,
next
that'll
weekend.
work. Yeah, that'll work. That'll work
All
for
right,
sure.
my brother.
Yeah.
All right.
And so like I said, man, thanks to G for joining in this joint. And like I said, we had this thing going on live Sundays here on YouTube, and it'll be available on demand via podcast form on iTunes, Google Podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music, all of that. You know what I'm saying? And we'll see what happens. And like the thing, hey Zeke, I'm gonna tell you something, Zeke. Hey, I most definitely I will be live April 16th. Okay, I'll be live April 16th, regardless of what happens. If Tank Davis gets the win, I'm gonna be on live April 16th. If Brian Garcia gets the win, I'll be here live April 16th for sure, no doubt, man. So so it won't even matter. I'm gonna be here. I'm gonna show up. You'll be able to be right here on this channel, and you can gloat all you want. If Brian Garcia gets the win on April 15th, I'm sorry, I don't feel like he's gonna get that win on April 15th. Okay, but we'll be talking about that fight more in depth over the next few weeks or so. Okay, but thanks for everybody for listening in here in this particular podcast, man. And like I said at the end of every show, folks, the point of boxing is to hit and not get hit, not to send and trade. On that note, folks, I'm out. Have a good evening, everybody.